one of the harder parts of spiritual awakening for me has been looking into how reality appears to function, understanding things. Like, one of the very first things that started coming through my brain on the last big awakening event that I had, which was about 10 years ago, all of a sudden I understood how light refracted, and I could see the patterns of the different forms that light and color take, and how it comes into our reality and our eyes and reflects. And I had really known or cared zero for anything to do with physics or sciencey type stuff of that nature. I was always more of a philosopher type, social relations and psychology and those sorts of interests. And all of a sudden, and for the last, since then, it hasn't stopped, I have just kept on digging into how does gravity actually work, and how does radiation work, and the DNA of seeds, and emergent theory, and particle physics, and astrophysics, and astrotheology, and really trying to understand what holds everything together. And when you start investigating consciousness and the stories that we tell and what the impact it has on what we receive, I've had so many experiences, I'm sure you can relate, where you think a thing and then it shows up and you know it ahead of time. You have a dream. This all gets so much more intense after you go through the awakening process, where you're a conscious agent suddenly in this reality, and it looks so much like a simulation sometimes because of that experience, where the inner thoughts that I'm having are being responded to. There's a part in the Ender's Game book where he's interacting with the game, and the game responds to his thoughts. It's supposed to really express what his mind is thinking. And it's like we get to this stage in spiritual awakening where our reality is really responding to us in this way. And we have to remake the definitions that we were given, because the way that I was raised and things that I was told don't match my experiences. There's no definition for it. And I'm not okay with saying, oh, my bad, I'm just crazy, because I'm not. And then for that, I'm clear. It makes you wonder, though, because things like simulation theory become really quite interesting and intriguing in light of consciousness, because we don't really have a clear story or understanding or framework for why reality responds to thought. I think up until maybe 7 years ago, I had never in my whole life heard to raise my frequency and raise my vibrations in order to manifest from reality back what I wanted and my thoughts. I thought it was ridiculous, except for that I've seen it happen over and over and over again in ways that um, are undeniable. I think if you run your own little thought experiments and attempt to get a reaction from the universe with an open mind in that way, and not just an open mind, but a willingness to see, a true willingness to see the reflection back to you, it changes the definitions of reality itself. So this morning, I stopped thinking that vibration was even really a thing. And I'm not going to be able to explain this very well to you, except for that, as far as I can tell, we hallucinate vibrations. But it's really points in the intersection of our mind and reality, the point where they meet. And there's a delay to that. But it's just like the lights going across the screen on my computer that light up according to what it's recording and reading back. The screen isn't moving, the screen is holding still. And I think it's just such a beautiful metaphor for what I think is actually the experience of reality. And when we can get to be more one with that. So comprehending non-duality is one thing. Understanding how our will applies to non-duality, if at all, is another. And I think that's where the curious place I've come to in my spiritual awakening is looking at consciousness, looking at the story that I have been believing about how this world is manifest, and seeing what else is possible where that leaves off, and how much can conscious awareness and agency really influence the fabric of what I have always known as reality. Interesting things to think about in any case. So thanks for joining me. See you next time.